It is morning Oasis time. It's 10 o'clock on the 31st of March. We are coming together for Q&A Friday. I'm going to give you guys a minute to come in while I kind of like wipe the sand out of my eyes, the sleep. Yesterday I went to the beach. Sorry, it was one of those nights where there was a lot going on in my sleep. Even though I got a lot of sleep, I'm still tired. You know, sometimes we wake up and we're still tired. This week has been an intense week of shifting energy, shifting and changing. Lots going on energetically, lots changing in the Gaia's resonance, the Schumann resonance it's called, but I'm going to call it Gaia's resonance. Today is Q&A Friday, so this day is driven by you guys, by your questions, by your requests. So I have one request for a card pull, and I'll try and hold off to pull their card until they're on. So good morning. Yeah, so it's interesting. Jesse was asking me, he asked me a few weeks ago, he said, what color is the sun? And I said, it's white. And he goes, what color did it used to be? And I said, yellow. And he was like, yeah. So you notice the change in the color of the sun too? And I was like, yeah, interesting, isn't it? And today, I don't know how many of you guys have heard about cosmic disclosure, Goode, David Wilcox and Goode have been doing this program called Cosmic Disclosure for the last couple of years, I believe. They're on season 7, though their seasons are not released at the same process. The frequency now, yeah, Sue, I haven't been able to find it, actually. I know that parts of the planet were recorded at all the way up to 320 some odd megahertz, and I don't honestly know what it is right now. It's different throughout various parts of the world. Good morning, Yvonne. Good morning, you guys. Good morning, Andrea. Good morning, Jante. So good to see all of you. Yeah, I'm not sure about that. Anyway, so this morning I was watching Cosmic Disclosure, and that was something that they brought up, was like the color of the sun is different, that the temperature of the sun is different. So even though it sounds good, Sue, even though it says that like the temperature reads at 75 degrees, it feels like 90. I have been finding I burn really easy out in the sun now. Gosh, I'm so bright right now today, but and it's totally gray, overcast skies right now. So sorry, guys, but I actually got this little burn. Oh, you know what? I forgot to take the bell off of the bunny. I'll have to go do that before we do our meditation. There's the kitty. He's resting behind me. He's like, so what they were talking about on Cosmic Disclosure, this is season 7, episodes 5 and 6, I believe. They have a guest on, and I forget his name, but he's apparently been doing this for a long time also. And he talked about, he was like, the sun is a different color. It used to, he's like, I'm old enough to remember when it was yellow, and kids drew it as a yellow sun, but it's white now. And one of the things they talked about, which I thought was pretty interesting, was that the sun's actual physical rotation versus its magnetic rotation is different. It's like on 2 different cycles, and that causes this torsion field as the sun is rotating, and yet the magnetics are spinning faster, and that's what causes on a 25,000 year cycle the solar sneeze effect. I've been hearing about the solar sneeze for a while from multiple resources, and that's really what they're afraid of. That's what the fear is caused by. It's one of the reasons that they are chemtrailing, is to try to block the UV radiation that's coming from the sun right now, which is much more intense than normal. That's why the sun appears as white. So it's a lot of interesting stuff, and they were reading from a book called The Brown Notebook. See, I just share with you guys whatever it is that I'm learning about. because I think that's what we're supposed to be doing. Anyway, the Brown Notebook was a book that was written by this guy from Nebraska, I believe, somewhere in the Midwest, who was just a normal guy who got picked up in one of the sphere ships and taken up. And he was talked to by blue beings, blue bird-like beings, who we've talked about before as raw consciousness. This is how, this is that interplay between spirituality and aliens and technology and all. This is how it all kind of comes together. And so he was saying that and this is back in the 1950s, that exactly, Jesse, as I learn, you learn, as you learn, I learn. We're always teacher learners, learner teachers in all things that we do. So anyway, he was talking about how the sun's light is going to shift and change, and the changing light will change the biochemistry in the brain and change the pineal gland's chemistry. And as that shifts and changes, it will shift us. And the more we can shift in consciousness into a unity consciousness, into the concept that we're all truly one collective conscious being, the more we're capable of being, of surviving what's coming from the sun. The sun is going to have a solar sneeze. They were also talking about how even NASA is now changing their carbon dating processes because they recognize that the sun is not, it's dynamic, it's not stable, it's not a consistent, constant, singular expression that's always the same. My daughter's speaking on Spree on her daily opiate dental clinic, so have a good time, Gurudeep. God, I see your name and I just want to say Guru, it's ridiculous. So anyway, they were talking about how as the sun shifts and changes, that we are being shifted and changed, and it's becoming easier and easier for those of us who are committed to the work, committed to this adaptations and growth and development and re-embracing our unity consciousness, how it becomes more simple for us to do so. We're supported by the sun. They talked about how the sun is not dynamic and that it's actually in a relationship with all of the other stars within our galaxy, and that there's one major star that is causing or is like the parent star of all the rest, and that as that parent star is going to cough, then the rest of the stars in the system will sneeze. So it's an interesting discussion that I was listening to this morning. The reality is that we are being contacted all around the world by the blue avians, by other beings that are here to support us. Some of us feel like they're angelics, some of us feel like they're ghosts, some of us feel like they're guides, some of us feel like they're all sorts of different things, elementals. I've heard everything. What I think is important is, good morning, Chris, is that we keep in mind how critical it is to step into this state of allowance, to step into a state of conscious acceptance and awareness. I was reading another thing that I felt compelled to share with you guys. I don't know if you have, I'm pretty sure that I've mentioned her before. My friend Vashta Narada, she on Facebook now, she goes by Vashta Alex Narada. Her name is Alexandra Alexis, I think. She's from Serbia. She's an artist. What she does is she tunes into whatever it is that's contacting you, and she creates a drawing, a computerized drawing of that being, so that as you're looking at the being, and she also channels a message from them to you, you can clarify your contact, because when we're tuning into these things, it's like we can sense it, we can feel it, but we don't know exactly what they're saying. We can't pull a name, we can't pull specific details, and for some people that's really frustrating, and they don't know how to make it stronger. So her work is to create a visual image for you so that you can look at that and connect through that. Interestingly enough, also David Wilcox mentioned how in many different things, good morning Laura, in many different, in the brown notebook, in an old Hebrew text that's an ancient text, in a Sufi text, how it talks about that we read certain information in order to attune our consciousness into the vibrational frequency of the beings that channeled that information in the first place, so that we can be more prepared to be in contact, direct contact with those beings. So I know this is a totally different subject and totally different topic than what we've been talking about over the last week, which was fractured state restoral, fractured state repair, incorporation of the wholeness of the self, which is actually kind of the same thing, right? This is just another perspective on it. So anyway, Vashta posted, she's one of those people that I follow. I love her work. She inspires me all the time. She's just a beautiful, beautiful being. Yeah. So if you feel like you're being contacted by something and you'd like to have a better, clearer connection, I strongly recommend you contact Vashta and commission her for some artwork. I don't know exactly how much she charges for her work, but it is powerful, it is beautiful, and I can't tell you how many times she draws stuff and I'm like, oh my God, I totally know that. So even just checking out her work, you can find that at Vashta Narada, that's VASHTA NARADA artwork on Facebook. You can find her also. She has a website, and I know I've posted stuff from her before, but I will go ahead and make sure I post something in the Facebook group, in the Healing Pathwalkers group by her, so you can find her. Look through what she's already done. Look through the work that she's already done for others. It's amazing. When she channeled, there's for one person, she did these golden beings, which are actually the collective consciousness of our sun. Very powerful. Very, very powerful. Her raw, exactly, Jessie, her raw consciousness portrait was awesome. I know, there is no other adjective, because it truly actually is awesome. So she posted this thing. It's a quote by from the Artificial Sleep book 4 by, I believe, let's see, Peter Grick, I think. And I'm just going to read this to you guys. No, excuse me. This is Jiddu, Jiddu, Krishnamurti's notebook. So here's what he wrote. There is no need for dreams if, during the waking hours, there is a choiceless awareness in which every fleeting thought and feeling is understood. Then sleep has altogether a different meaning. Analysis of the hidden implies the observer and the observed, the censor and the thing that is judged. In this, there is not only conflict, but the observer himself is conditioned, and his evaluation, interpretation, can never be true. It will be crooked, perverted. So, self-analysis, or an analysis by another, however professional, may bring about some superficial changes, an adjustment in relationship, and so on. But analysis will not bring about a radical transformation of consciousness. Analysis does not transform consciousness. Now, what does that mean? When I am guiding you guys through meditations, have you noticed I don't try to interpret anything that you guys are getting. I only ask you to observe, to experience, to feel, to allow communication to come through. This is why when we start looking, sure, I'll post that. I'll post it right now. When we start interpreting, when we start trying to find the meaning of what's being communicated, that's when we start corrupting it through our filters. Our filters of intention and misintention, all of that stuff. That's when things start to get distorted. Okay? So if somebody is starting to interpret things for you, that's where you want to be careful. You don't want that. You don't want to be doing that either. What happens when we do that is that we miss out on the experience, and the experience is what transforms us. One of the reasons that you guys find my meditation so powerful, why you keep coming back, is because you are allowed to experience it for yourself. My guidance is only designed to help you experience, and by the design, I don't do that consciously. That's not me consciously doing anything. I don't even know what words are going to come out of my mouth. Even when it's a tool, for instance, yesterday I believe we did the I think it was the day before, Kintsukuri healing technique, where we're a vessel coming together and healing it. I have probably guided a couple dozen people through that meditation in individual practice. I've taught it at least 4 or 5 times in classes, and I taught you guys. And every single time it's different. Every single time. Because I don't know what they're going to have us do. I don't know how they want us to guide it. And that's because we are being supported by these beings. They're tuning into us, they're supporting us, they're helping us channel in what we need in order to come into alignment with singular consciousness, to recognize that we're all the children of Gaia, we're all here experiencing the ascension, and that's what we're doing right now. That's the reason that right now so many of us are struggling, because we have to face those things and allow them to be in order to understand them. By understanding, I mean accept them, that make us feel like we're not together, that you are not me, that make you in any way put me on a pedestal and you down below. There's no such thing. You are me and I am you, and we come together here because we resonate with each other. We resonate at a frequency, and as we come together more and more and find those other groups and pockets that resonate at that frequency, we join more in unity. The more we're in unity consciousness, the more capable we are of surviving this ascension process. And by surviving, I don't mean that necessarily our physical bodies will be here. I don't know that. I can't tell you that. That's not unknowable right now. I do mean that our consciousnesses will continue in their progression of development through the various densities. So, all that said, that's big for this morning. I knew there was a reason I woke up and was cued to immediately start watching that. And again, this is about allowance. This isn't about forcing anything. This isn't about trying to make something happen. If you are struggling to catch or tune into Morning Oasis, it's not the right time or alignment for you to be watching the program. It's not the time or the alignment for you to be receiving that information. And when you get the cue to watch it, do so. But don't force it. Don't force yourself to join. You're in your own process of development and of reattuning of your frequencies. All right, Laura, we as individuals can all see the same thing in different lights. No way is right or wrong. It just is, exactly. There's a reason that we have a multiplicity of perspective so that we can view it from all angles. When they want to do a 3D... one of those 3-dimensional video recordings where it's like you can see everything, kind of like it looks like it's coming out of the screen at you, and you can see it moving. What they're actually doing is they're surround that thing, and they take the image, the recording, from all possible angles, and then they compile those images. That's what we are. We're the recorders. We're video cameras. Now, a video camera doesn't think about what it's recording. It just records. It just observes. It just allows. They're not deciding, is this shot better than that shot? Is this shot more important? No. All shots are critical if what you want is a complete view and a complete understanding. So, rant over. what would you guys like to talk about? What would you guys like to know? I don't know if Savante has joined or not, but they were the first person to request a reading, and they requested yesterday, and I told them they'd be up today. And yeah, so what are your guys' questions? Where are you guys at? What's going on with you guys? And I'll start with Savante's reading. This is Q&A Friday, so this one is driven by you guys. Well, you know, rant by meaning, you know, I had to get it all out there. Okay, Savante, I'm hearing that the goddesses want to talk to you right off. Speaking of rant, I actually watched Dave Chappelle's comedy version, newest comedy show last night. I had one of the people that I enjoy and follow, Jace, I forget her last name. She's a trans woman who does a lot of work, sure, Laura, in the community, and she was pretty upset about his show. And it's interesting because I can understand why she got upset. You know, he has some pretty challenging things that he's talking about. But one of the very first things he says is that people have to get over themselves if they get offended. It's because they're taking themselves too seriously. And it was very true, actually. I thought it was really interesting. Chris, yes. Well, Jesse, then perhaps it's not an alignment for you to do the meditation today. We may not even get to a meditation today. I heard Chris, a card, yeah. So, Savante, we just had her the other day. It's amphitrite, again, willpower. So it looks like you're struggling, Savante, with feeling willpower, feeling a strength, feeling capable of recognizing your own influence of what's going on around you because of your moods. It's time to start bringing your emotions into alignment with your desired actions and desired outcomes. Oftentimes we tend to feel, sure, Callie, hi, I didn't see you come in. Oftentimes we feel like we are the whim of our emotions, that they rule us. And the reality is our consciousness is the first thing that our body starts interpreting. And so we have total control over our consciousness, total control over our emotions, our moods. And by control, what I mean is if you are an active participant in allowance for whatever you're experiencing, then it does not. Then you are you're not being ruled by your emotions. You're not being ruled by anything. You're experiencing. And the ocean is a great example of that. The ocean experiences the planet. She does not decide or choose. She does not influence with her intention. She allows. She allows the wind to blow and create waves. She allows the shaking of the earth to create waves. And she just flows those things. So there's a certain amount of flow that's critical, but there's also a certain amount of a sense of a helplessness that happens with this as well. So I think it's the resistance that creates problems to the flow. Okay, so that's what I'm getting for you. Let's see, Jesse says... Oh, before that, Chris, you don't have to apologize. I didn't mean to come across as cross. I'm not. My energy is really strong. I feel kind of like the earth right now. So I'm very, I don't even know how to put it. You can feel my energy and you'll know where I'm at. So Jesse says, remember your emotions are yours and yours alone. It doesn't matter how justified your emotional reaction is to whatever stimuli. As a creature of free will, you have the capacity to choose whether or not to remain offended. Exactly. When we get offended, it's because we're in resistance. We can see that with like how icebergs react in the ocean, right? Because they're a solid, rigid, defined thing that crash against each other and against other things while the water is in flow. So that's a really great example. I am bilocating, Jesse. Yeah, I haven't fully come back from the dream state that I was in. I might not for a few days, so it's probably a good thing that it's right before the weekend. Okay, Laura requested a card pull. Let's see. That's really loud. There's a lot of decisions and choices that are being made right now about how to support us and how to best transition. And because I'm one of those people that's job here is to do that work, I'm kind of involved in listening rather than, I'm not a speaker, I'm a listener. So I'm still kind of listening in that other space. Okay, so Laura, you're next. And my Shadowscape card deck is the one who wants to talk to you today. It's kind of funny. Even though I'm bilocating, I don't even have to feel the decks to know which one. They're already telling me which ones want to be pulled for. I have a feeling today is just going to be pulls and kind of open discussion. I don't think we're going to be doing meditation today. I get a no. Yeah, we're not going to be doing meditations today. Today's not the day for me to be leading that. So if you were looking for the meditation, I'd recommend going back and re-listening to any meditations during this week that you feel drawn to. This week's work was critical work. There was a reason that it was in totally in group flow like that. So we have 3 pulls after this, and I think we would probably have room for at least another 3 or 4 pulls. So if other people want to request, they can. Laura, the Queen of Cups. The Queen of Cups is the queen of emotions, the queen of subconscious thinking. See how she's walking, almost dancing across the water. She's not thinking about where her foot falls, but she trusts and knows that those turtles, they represent ancient wisdom, knowledge, and allowance, that they're going to rise up and catch her feet wherever she goes. They're paying attention to where she steps. She doesn't need to. So they're asking you to recognize that you're divinely supported, divinely held. Sounds good, Andrea. And to continue taking the steps you're being guided to take. It's time to take care of your people and to care for them and allow them to support and care for you as you do so. And she's the queen that loves unconditionally, loves, gives, flows, without thought, without a need for reception, just to giving. So that's something else to come through for you. That's all. Okay, Chris, you asked for a card pull. Let's see. Ganesh wants to speak with you. Ganesh, the great remover of obstacles. Yeah, this weekend, if you have the opportunity to get outdoors, I'd strongly recommend it. Strongly. Spend some time in meditation with the sun. That's what I've been doing. Yeah, I figured, Laura. This time it is really critical to be out to receive. Oh yeah, I should probably throw this out there since there's events coming up tonight. If you're in the Portland metro area, we are doing a panel, intuitive panel at New Renaissance with me and 3 other intuitive psychic readers. The panel, I believe, is called something like Spring Cleaning of Your Soul. We're going to be talking about techniques and practices for clearing out your energy, clearing out blockages, how to use the energies that are going on right now to shift and transform and transition. So if you're in the area, it's it's a really cool opportunity. We did one other panel as a group, and I really enjoyed the group. There was nothing that was said that I disagreed with. So it's powerful people working together to help create clarity and a transitional energy to help you move forward. It's only $20 to get in. That's basically like what it costs to get an individual read at one of the intuitive galleries, but you're getting 4 different reads on your questions, so that's pretty powerful. Those are multiplicities of perspectives. Then we're also doing the April Fool's Fair. That's April 1st. That's tomorrow. So that's tomorrow night at Vibrant Studios in Southwest Portland. It's free to get in. Each reader charges their own rates. This is the only place I charge $20 to get a private reading. I try to keep it pretty limited to 20 minutes, but sometimes it goes a little bit longer. So it's the only place you can get readings with me for that price. And there's many others that are there. I think this time we have 13 other readers, but I could be wrong on that. And you can get eye readings from Lorelei Shimiano. She's pretty amazing. Good, Chris. That would be great to see you there. It's a powerful experience. Yeah, anyway. So let's see. This one is Chris. Here's your card. You got Nurture. It's time to be more nurturing, more in that state of loving and caring. This also, what I'm getting here is this is the green ray of energy. Imagine yourself surrounded in a green light. Nurturing love is very green. Romantic, passionate love is pink. I'm sensing it's time to get nurturing energy brought into you. Take care of you. Take care of those around you. It's time to bring out that nurturer inside. Nurturing energy and vibration. That was, she made her child out of her love, right? And bubbles. She made Ganesh. And he's one of the most beloved gods in India. All throughout the Pantheon, he is the one who is worshipped and loved almost as much as the major 3, So Ganesh is all about nurturing and loving, allowance and acceptance, overcoming those things which block you or feel like an obstacle, obstructing you. So it's time to bring in that nurturing energy in your life. Let's see, Kali, and remember, you guys, we've got time, so we've got at least time for another 3 or 4 card pulls. Well, if you've gotten this card pull twice, that's telling you something. Let's see, Kali. Ooh, you're doing some transition in your energy, aren't you? Good work. Really good work, Kali. Kali and I have been doing session work, helping her transition more. Yeah, it's funny. There's 2 decks that kind of want to talk to you. We'll see if I feel like I need to pull another one. Michelle, I'd love to pull for you. So good to see you. This card just didn't want to come out because it's your card. Yeah. So, this is the 2 of Fire. It's really time to start balancing your power and your passion, bringing in the duality of the self, starting to bring in those things. So if your block, Chris, is another person, that's something you've created an allowance for another person to block you. Don't blame them. Look for why. Look for the fractured state self that is using that other person as a way for you to see yourself more clearly, see the part of the self you're rejecting, and you will no longer need the other person to serve as a block for you. They're serving you. They're not blocking you, you're blocking you. So the 2 of Fire is really about balancing and seeing the companionship of work. I'm going to look her deck. Her decks also have powerful reading information, and I'm getting cued to read some of it for you. Sorry, you guys, I don't mean to be coming across as so flat. It really, truly is my energy that's just flowing through. You're not getting the big, warm, fuzzy Jessie that you normally are used to. Okay, so aligning yourself with another, power sharing, two heads better than one, time for teamwork and cooperation, a struggle for power, seeking one who will teach much needed skills, an equal exchange of energy, someone who will help you overcome obstacles. Let's see, do you have a goal or an outcome that you wish to manifest? The Two of Fire represents teamwork and working together in a harmonious way. If I recall correctly, you were finding somebody who you were finding more connection with. It's time to work with them more collaboratively. Whether that person comes to you as a mentor who, by working with you, can teach you much needed skills, or a partner who works with you to have you help you have the workload, then your shared vision and mutual interests will help you overcome the obstacles that you have found in your path, and it may be preventing you from moving forward. Now is the time for teamwork. I think also part of this is, one of the things that you learned recently was that you weren't safe with another person, right? Having the person that you were entrusting and feeling really safe with, you ended up finding out that they weren't safe. But that was because of the way you guys were collaborating. And I think this is asking you to look at the ways in which you block collaboration for yourself, and you'll be able to feel more collaborative with others, more trust with others. It says here also, take a look. Are you doing all the work while your partner sits back and reaps the rewards? So ask yourself how much you wish to be in charge and take the reins of control. Is there a genuine need because one or both of you have deviated from the path that you both agreed upon? Or is the desire for control purely ego-driven? In any case, it's time now to sit down and address any inequalities within the partnership and determine whether or not you both still share the same goals and ambitions. So checking in with your ambitions, your goals, what is it that you seek in partnerships? What is it that you seek from others? Very critical part for you right now in your growth and your development. Let's see. Who else asked for a card pull? Andrea. This is that new deck that hasn't wanted to talk to anybody yet, but it wants to talk to you, Andrea. Let's see. The Voyager deck. This is the one that you got, a few of you recommended by James Wanless, the Voyager deck. Okay, this is the second time a card will not come out of the box. And it's your card. Oh, funny. So this is a lot like we've already pulled her once. The Queen of Cups in the other deck, the Woman of Cups in this deck. At the top you can't really see it, but it says Rejoicer. Beautiful card, really. Look at all those little symbols of various ways. Do you notice the web in the background? Notice how the woman in the very, very back looks like she's weeping with water flowing over her. Because this deck is literally brand new to me and I've had zero time to work with it, I've only pulled my own cards once and pulled my husband's once, so that was it. Here's what he has to say. Let's start learning what his voice sounds like. Let's see, I'll put this up here. Like the seashells, lotuses, and cups, you are receptive to life. Let the beauty of life fill your heart. Hear conch shell to ear. Taste moon in the drinking glass. Touch water on the skin. And smell life's sweet essence. You're deeply moved by life's surges and tides, oceanic in the depth of your feelings and spontaneous, yet judicious in their expression. Show your gratitude to life through the celebration of love, reverence, and bliss. That's your message from that deck. Yeah, time to enjoy life a bit more. Andrea, give yourself a chance and an opportunity to enjoy, right? You do a lot of work for others, and I don't think you take much time for yourself to really rejoice. Yeah, that's what's coming through for you. Okay, so Michelle, and we've still got 20 minutes left, and that's the last card request pull. Remember, you guys, this Friday is cued by and for you guys. So if we are done with questions and we're done with card request pulls, we'll be done with the show today. Yeah, so let's see. Michelle, Earth Magic is your card. I'm going to take a sip of coffee because I can. I really love coffee. Can I just say that again? Oh, I did not see that, Teresa. I'm going to put you down. Thank you for speaking up again. So, Michelle, you're being talked to through via Earth Magic by Stephen Farmer, this deck. There's a lot going on, you guys. I'm sorry. There's a lot flowing through me right now. It's pretty hard to stay present. Yeah, good. I'm glad to hear that. Jante. I know, right? How could you not love coffee? You're in France. All right, so here we have Michelle, wind activation. We were just talking about the wind earlier. I'm gonna read. They're just telling me to. I think they want me to not drop too deeply into any of this. It's also part of why I'm not going to be leading a meditation today. Okay. Wind, the lethargy you feel is the result of lack of activation. In other words, something that stirs your senses. This could be anything from walking outdoors, feeling the breeze on your body, or inhaling the different aromas that nature herself provides. Or it could be finding the pleasure in a warm bath that helps you release the tension and stress from your mind and body. Music may activate your hearing, which sparks the pleasure centers in your brain. Art may activate your emotional responses. The touch of another human may activate a deeper need to be physically held in some manner once again. Now is the time for action. Engage in some activity and be fully present so that you forget about your surroundings and enter into that timeless and multidimensional experience of union with the focus of your creative attention. Let your physical body be active. Movement alone, whether quietly dancing by yourself or hiking up that hill over yonder, will require you to be as present as possible in your body. One of the reasons that it's so critical right now for us to be present in the body, which is hilarious because right now I'm barely present in my body, which is part of my work. But why it's critical for us to be fully present in the body is to allow our body to experience and to release the thinking mind, the analysis mind. Right? We have to let that analysis brain stop. And that takes us and spreads our consciousness out. It dissipates us. When we're trying to understand something, when we're trying to interpret or find a meaning, when we're remembering our past or trying to figure out or intuit our future, we're spreading our consciousness out. By spreading our consciousness out in that way, we are diluting ourselves. Not diluting, although it's very similar, we're diluting ourselves. Just like if you take a drop of salt water and drop it into fresh water, it's diluted. It's no longer salt water. It just barely impacts the rest of that water. So we have to be more of our full consciousness selves right now in order to support the transition our physical body is going through. Our physical body is going through huge transformations right now as we're going into an ascension process. The physicality is changing, and if we dissipate our consciousness, then we are not able to hold the power that's necessary in order to transition the vessel as is needed right now. So that's what's really important for us. That's why everything that our work is about is releasing and unhooking. We start it with every single meditation and coming fully into the present in order to be able to really transition the vessel. Right? We gotta transition our vessels right now. Our vessels must evolve. In order to do so, we must have our full power present, not be dissipating ourselves into our past, into our future, into the multiplicity of our possibilities, exploring, oh, well, if I did this, I could have that happen. If I did this, look what this line would be. If I do this, we need to just stop. Step into allowance, allow it to be what it is right now. Okay, wow, that came out way more serious than I intended. Gosh, I'm so serious, you guys. Whew. They're asking me to be, and that's what it is. All right, so Chris, I don't know how to not let this person scare the crap out of me. Big, intimidating bully. Okay, again, you're calling a bully up, and you bully yourself emotionally, psychologically, spiritually. Please go back, listen to this week, go back through, do the meditations from this week, and you'll be able to understand yourself much more, and you won't be blaming the other person. They're not bullying you, you're calling a bully in to show you that you bully yourself. Lack of activation, love it. Yeah, so Michelle, yeah, get out there. And I think that, I'm just going to feel for a second. There's been a lot of sitting. There's been a lot of coming into planning work that's not really stimulating and activating you to come fully present. It's dissipating you. So coming more present is necessary right now. Okay, guys, so we have 13 minutes left. Teresa is our next pull. If anyone else wants a pull, speak now or forever hold your peace. And I'm a minister, so, you know, I mean it. It still cracks me up, that label. Oh my God, if you would have asked me even like 3 years ago if I was going to be a minister ever in my life, I would have laughed my ass off. Yeah, I totally was sitting in the sun yesterday. You know, it was so funny. I'm just going to tell you guys a quick little story. I did not take a lot of pictures yesterday. I ended up taking Michelle's sister, Mariah, my son, her daughters, and one of their friends to the beach. We went to Shipwreck Beach. It's over in Astoria. And we got all prepared. You know, we were going to have all the food that we needed to go there. We loaded all the kids up in the car. There were 6 of us in the car. We brought, you know, some things to play with. We brought some enjoyment stuff. We brought things to sit on, and we went out there. Yeah, we went out there, and we were just going to experience the space. When I looked up on the weather report what it was supposed to be like over there, it was supposed to be 75 degrees. It was only supposed to have a 6 mile per hour wind at the coast, which, if you are familiar with the Oregon coast, that's a low wind. And it was supposed to be partial clouds, no rain. So we get over there, and it was beautiful, and the sun did come out right as the light was shining through, right as we got there. And it was like a break between 2 big cloud systems that were passing over. And we were basically just being either blasted by the wind, and I found one spot we could sit where there was a lee of the wind, but then we were being blasted by sand. I had so much sand in my hair that you could see my hairline, which you normally can't because it's silver. You could see it as a black outline of my face. It was hilarious. I had so much sand in my body. And the kids lost the car keys in the beach. 2 of the girls wanted to go back to the car because they were cold and wind impacted. And it was like, they lost the car keys. And it's a Lexus. So like those keys are $300 to replace. And I didn't have a spare. So I'm like, we aren't going to be able to even get in the car to get home. Like, I don't even have my phone. So it was interesting. So anyway, they were like, we're going to go find the keys. And I just kind of sat there for a minute, and I really tuned in, and I was like, is there anything for me to worry about in this? And I got a no. And when I looked up, the sun was shining through this cloud, and the way that the cloud was, and the sun shining through it, it looked exactly like my Arcturian guides. It looked exactly like an Arcturian face looking at me. And as I looked up, I swear to God, it smiled. And I was like, okay, so is this a lesson for me? No. This is a lesson for them. And it's a lesson for you to allow. Now, normally, I would have gotten really stressed out about that. I would have gotten upset. I would have gotten angry. I would have pitched a fit. I would have been panicking. I would have looked everywhere, panicking, right? And one of the girls, who was neither of ours daughters, she's like diving in the ocean. My son was up to his waist in the ocean. So they're totally soaking wet. It's cold. I'm thinking, please God, let her not be the one who'd been holding the keys. I'll never give the keys to the children again. Right? All these lessons. And I just kind of sat there and received and just observed. And then they were like, okay, now get up and go and just go stand by the car. And so I went and I stood by the car, and the girl I'd given the keys to, my friend's daughter, she comes running up and she's like, I found them. And she just felt so sorry. You know, she was so apologetic, and she's like, I'm just so sorry. I'm so sorry. And I said, well, what did we learn from this? And she goes, to bring the keys right back to you, to be responsible for something I've been given, to hold sacred the keys. Hold the keys sacred. I'm like, good. Because when an adult gives you the keys to the kingdom, that's something valuable they're giving you. That's something we all need. And you've got to give it. You have to give back what you've been given, right? So it was a lot of lessons for us all in that. Yes. And so anyway, it ended up being a beautiful experience. We all had a lot of love, a lot of joy, a lot of play. So yeah, Chris, the only reason I got my license, my ordainship, was so that, you know, in the state of Oregon, you're not allowed to lay hands on another person unless you are a minister or you have a license like a massage therapist or a physical therapist. I'm not going to go get one of those. So in order to do some of my work, it requires me to put my hands on people with their permission, of course. So as a side result of that was that now I can marry people, and I've done a few weddings. I find it a beautiful experience, a joyous experience. So yeah. Okay, so Teresa, you're a card pull. Ganesh wants to talk to you. Reflection, Teresa. Reflection. It is a time for you to do some deep reflection, right? What does reflection look like? This is really what we talked about all week long, looking at the reflection in order to see the self more clearly. We can't really see ourselves very well. We can't see ourselves without looking from outside. We can kind of know some of ourselves, but even that we don't really know until we are seeing it in comparison to another. What is fat if you're not looking at someone who's skinny, right? What is beautiful if you're not looking at something you view as ugly? What is kindness if you don't see something that is cruelty, right? We don't know these things until we see them in comparison and contrast to another thing. So it's time to allow yourself some reflection, seeing how you appear in the external, or how the external is appearing around you, in order to see the self more clearly. Again, I'm getting, go back and watch the rest of this week if you haven't been able to join. That's what this whole week's shows were about. Even if it's just to watch the last 15 to 20 minutes of each show, so you're getting the meditation, whether you're missing the lecture or not. It's very critical for you right now. Yeah, that's what I'm getting. Okay, so we've got 5 minutes left. It's uncommon for us to not do a meditation together. Blessed are those who weep, for they shall be comforted. Yeah, exactly, Jesse. You know, it's funny, the other girl who literally dove all the way into the ocean, and we're talking the northern Pacific, okay? It is cold as shit, you guys. It's cold water. Really cold water. If you wanted to be, if you're a surfer in that water, you're wearing a full wetsuit, okay? It's not like California water. It's cold, it's windy. You only barely get into that water in the peak of summer. Like, truly. And she comes out and I said, well, did you, she said, the ocean was really mean. It pushed me down. I said, you were up to your armpits in the ocean. In the ocean. The waves were huge. And exactly. And she said, well, it was really being mean. And I said, the ocean has no emotion for you. It's not there. It's not there to please you. It's not there to love you. It's there as a reflection of the world. Okay, it's the world. And that's the Pacific Ocean, the biggest ocean, the most massive ocean. You're only allowed to receive from the ocean, okay? You aren't being treated in any way by that water. You are experiencing the water, and you chose to go all the way in. That's an experience. That's not something that you are being subjected to. That's something you chose. You walked into. And she said, I can't believe that you're not mad at me. Like, you're not angry. And I said, why would I be angry with you? What would that accomplish? And she was like, well, my mom would really be freaking out right now. She'd be yelling and screaming at me. And I was like, well, would that teach you anything? And she goes, well, I don't think I'm capable of learning anything. I was like, well, that there is a choice, darling. That's a whole nother choice. Now, and it was just interesting. Like, it's interesting when you interact with other people's kids because they have all these expectations around you. You swam in it in July, freezing but got sunburned, languishing on the beach. Polarity. There you go, Jante. Yeah, the Oregon coast will give you that polarity. So, you know, when oftentimes people will feel like things that are happening around them, they're subjected to them. But the reality is you put yourself there. You put yourself in the experience. You put yourself into a place where you're going to receive. So why block it with fear? Don't. Just allow it. Come into wholeness. Allow that experience to shift and change and shape you. All right, you guys, I'm going to sign off. I love you all. Yeah, Michelle, I think so. It was a little bit heartbreaking. It's hard to determine how much we can actually assist when something like that's going on. And then we have to remember we all choose our lessons. I'm getting this sharp pain right here. Really sharp. Maybe the ocean was being mean. I don't know, Jesse. Honestly, I don't know. You guys, this was a really intense week. Really powerful week. We did some massive, massive work. If you missed any of this week, I'm going to tell you, go back and watch it. This was one of those weeks that was being guided. It's for you. It's about you. It is a gift to you as much as it was for me, about me, and a gift to me. I want to thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for being a part of this. I couldn't do this without you. I wouldn't be doing this without you. I'm not sure exactly how much longer Morning Oasis will continue. I've been getting some cues that we're coming closer to an end. This whole program was designed to keep you guys in a state of daily allowance, helping you build daily practice, helping you grow, and it's for you as much as it is for me. So we'll see how much it continues on. But yeah, love you guys, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye.